Hi guys, welcome back to Wardle Road, and in today's video it's going to be a short one, but it's just basically an update on the exterior of the station and the scrapyard that I've been working on. So I'm going to show you a few clips of the wiring side of it and the progress I've made. It's not finished yet, but I'm going to try and make sure all the lights and everything are working, and then at the end of the video I'll show you guys the complete look. Other things to look out for: I'm going to be visiting Graham from Lakeside, and as you can see here I've got pages and pages of questions for him, and then I've also got a visit to Valleybrook as well as Barnabas Junction, so there's some videos to look out for. So if you've got any questions for those guys, please leave them below in the comments, and yeah, enjoy the video. Final thing, on the talking of Barnabas Junction, he's arranged MRYCG meet and greet on the 2nd at the Stafford Model Railway Exhibition, and it's 1 PM outside the scale model scenery stand. So if you want to come and say hello, I'll be walking around with this on my back, so if you see me, please come and say hello. I'll be filming it for a vlog as well as filming the exhibition in general, and hopefully picking up a few bits. So yeah, that just leaves me to say thank you very much. We've got over 12,000 something views on the channel in total now, which is unbelievable. So please do subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So far, I'll just explain what we've done so far in the scrapyard area. So the initial base is just some thick card, which I've airbrushed a dark concrete colour, and then this here, as you might have seen in one of my previous videos on the weathering, is a resin scrap pile, which still needs a few more bits of detail done to it. So the next step I need to do is weather along the edges here and around the side here with a dark brown to start the earth pattern. I've marked out here, you can see a faint line for my workman shed, which still needs weathering, but I've got some stuff on the way from scale model scenery which is going to go on the inside of that. I've also started on the pavement. As you can see here, it's this piece here is not dried too well. It's a bit bendy, but the idea is that this is going to start to sit somewhere like that, and once it's weathered I can get my fence pieces in and start to build up the scrapyard entrance. I've put the first layer of glue around the plasterboard for the platform, so once that's dried I can then attach my sort of like brick-like retaining walls around the front and sides and back. And once that's all done, I can then position my station building in place and get that stuck down as well. Still got a couple of bits to add to that. I've got my welding kit. So I've got the welding LED, which flashes between two different blues, and the circuit board for it. So that's going to go in the scrapyard as well. And John also sent me this lovely engine, which I've weathered down, and that's going to be coming in on a low loader into the scrapyard. He also sent me some these little like ballast sack things, but they were just empty, so I've put ballast on them, and then they'll be spinning all over the place in the scrapyard, as well as some loose bricks all over the floor, which I've pointed out in a previous video. So as you can see there, I've kind of worked out where I want my workers' hut to go and my pile of scrap, and just kind of dirtied that. I know it's a little bit less obvious in real life, in person, but on the camera you can quite clearly see there where the two areas of dirt are going to be. But once I've added a few more different colours of weathering, hopefully, and a bit more scrap as well, hopefully this area will kind of blend itself away and it won't be as noticeable. Also done the brown around the edges as well, so next thing I can do now is start working on getting some fence posts to cordon off the whole area and start the section off the area, and then I can work on the inside of it with the fitting the welder's light. So let's get on with that. Right, so as you can see here, I have started adding the fencing around, and then I'm going to have the GWR black fencing on the back of the platform, which has been given a base coat of dark grey, which I mixed up myself. As you can see, the welder has been put in place, and that is just using one of these guys from the welding kit, some old wheels, and if I bring you closer, you can see that I have sunk the circuit board for the two LEDs for the welder into the baseboard, which runs to a circuit board underneath and then to my 12 volt light supply. So my plan for this bit here is to add scenery section around the bottom here, a couple of lamp posts along here, and that's all going to join to the same circuit, and then hopefully I can get this to stay down and weather the pavement edges. I've got the base done for the house, so the office I'm just up to cleaning this out because it's a bit dirty on the inside, and then once my delivery from Scale Model Scenery arrives, I can get to work on the desks, workbench and shelves that are going to sit on the inside of here. But for now I'm just going to get on with fitting the light in here onto the base. Right, so I've got a little bit more of an update now from earlier. I've managed to get the welder in, and I've started the base of the scrapyard sort of operations hut, and it's got a small LED which runs to underneath, which I'll show you in a second. Station, I've got the four of the lampposts, well, one more left to put in, but these three are in, and there's going to be a couple more down this side here. As well as that, I've got the LEDs for inside the station, so there's 5 in total along the bottom there, and there's 1 in the stairwell, so they're all done. So if you look at it from this angle, you can see I've done a little bit more on the fencing, only that last sort of corner section to go and the gates. If I zoom in here just a little bit and lift up this van, you can see just there is my welder's circuit, which is sunk into the baseboard, and over the top of that I've got a camper van, taken the tyres off, put a few of these jacks on it to lift it up slightly, and now that can sit over the top of that, and you won't even see the circuit board underneath. So very pleased with that. The hut here, giving it a little bit of a clean, so that now sits comfortably, locks in place on top of that. It means I can remove it whenever I want to. Going to ignore my messy wiring for a bit, but as you can see there, they're two of the LEDs for the station, and then there's the other 2 here that run into these 6-way ports, which are really good, because means I can spread the power out without having to run wires all the way around the board. So they then come from 8 port there, which then runs off all the way to the middle board, which the 12 volts comes in on. Just here is the flashing circuit for the welder, which was £10 on eBay, £9.99 post and packaging included, which I suppose for the circuit board and the 2 lights isn't too bad. And then just dangling down here are all of the lampposts. So I'm just going to get to work on getting a couple of these bits wired up, and join me back in a second with hopefully some lights working. Right, so it's been a couple of days since I got to work. Well, it's been a day really since I got to work on the scrapyard, and as you can see, I've made a fair bit of progress. I've got these tyres which I made and painted up from Scale Model Scenery, which is that one there. I've also got a couple of other bits and pieces, which was workshop shelving, which I will show you in a minute. I also got some workbenches, which I'm yet to make up, and some office desks, which I've made one of already. Before, but as you can see, I've started doing a bit of street detail as well. I've got the yellow line here, and just in there, some drainage, which is also from a set from Scale Model Scenery. Seem to be buying a lot of stuff from them at the moment. And I know there's a little bit of light bleed, which you'll see as well, coming from underneath the station here, but once this is glued down, you shouldn't see any of that. So yeah, I've done the single yellow line. As you can see here, I've also worked on some signs. So this is no trespassing, keep out, and there's one on each side. And there's also a please keep clear of the gates as well on the other side of that gate. The kits are both Will's kits. I think this is the iron spike fencing, and then this is the security fencing here. And I've kind of mixed the two because I kind of wanted a slightly different type of fencing for the gating, as well as the welders, which I've just finished gluing to their pieces of kit. So this guy still needs to go in. I've also got some CCTV cameras, one at each end of the scrapyard, just to keep an eye on things. I've also still got the skip from John, many thanks to him for this, which I've yet to decide where I want it to go. Probably gonna have like a sort of skip section and a recycling area down the bottom here. Also to arrive is my 12 volt to 5 volt DC transformer. So this is going to allow me to run a speaker, which I've fitted just inside this right hand building here. There's a speaker there going to a circuit board, which should allow me to do a couple of station announcements. So but yeah, that runs on a 5 volt, so I'm going to use this transformer to step down the voltage and run it off my main lighting power supply, which is making life a lot more easier than fitting a 5 volt supply and having that other plug to plug in when I set the layout up. So that's pretty useful. As you can see from this shot here, I've been working on the lights as well. I've now got all the street lights lit up, as well as all the interior lighting, and I've also fitted an LED just up in the stairwell up here. So if I turn the lights off, you can see there's a nice glow coming from inside of the stairs. It's as if to suggest that the lights in the staircase have been slightly more modernised for the public, but the slightly yellowy, tingy lights in the windows have remained there for a long time. You can also see I've got the lighting inside of the sort of workman's office in the scrapyard, so I'll just zoom in on that now. As you can just see through the window there, I've added a couple of extra details, which I'll show you a bit more in depth in a second, but you can see a few posters on the wall, there's a newspaper, there's a guy there organising things on the shelves. So if I just lift this off here, you can now see the inside of my scene. I'm getting a little bit closer. And these are the Scale Model Scenery kits for the shelves, the chair and the desk. And as you can see, I think that looks really, really good. On the inside here, I've added some posters, some health and safety and first aid posters. It's only just for a little detail. If someone was to look through the window, they'd see some bits going on. There's a couple of bits and pieces on the shelf there as well. I'll show it to you from another angle. So this is from the other side, and as you can see, the guys are organising something on the shelf there. There's a few bits of metal and tubing and chain links and all sorts of stuff on the shelves there. I also fitted a light like this, as you can see. Might have mentioned it before, but to make sure I could lift up the building, put the building back down with ease, which means I can then also change anything in here if I want to. But also notice as well, if I pan down, just there, that I've been working on the yellow sort of crosshatch area. Put some cones around the wheelie bin just to make sure no one parks their cars right outside the door of the workman's hut. So that quite simply sits over the top there like that, in place. So as you can see from this shot here, the lighting I think looks really, really realistic. Like, it's so nice that you can't really see anything else going on aside what's going on in the scene. Really, really pleased with it. You see all the shelves and bits and bobs on them. I think if anyone was to look at that closely, they'd be really pleased with that scene. But yeah, I think this is all for now for my update on the scrapyard. I'll probably have another one out soon. As always, thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. And I'll be back again next week with some more really good videos. So yeah, please subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.